Hello everybody, this is Hybrid, and today I just want to say that I am going to be doing a review of Young Justice Season 2, Episode 4, I believe, titled Salvage. And this one was really about Red Arrow, not the team, but Wally West, as he's not Kid Flash anymore in the future, Nightwing, Roy Harper's uncle, who is Guardian, I forgot his real name, and Green Arrow and Black Canary are trying to do a kind of intermission to the whole, I guess you could say, Roy Harper is he's hitting rock bottom, and no one wants to see that, obviously, especially Green Arrow. So they decided to intervention, not intermission, sorry, intervention. So yeah, it really starts off with the fact that Red Arrow saves somebody, but when he saves them, he gives them money back except for like 1 wad of cash, you can say. And Green Arrow sees that because he's kind of following him and calls everybody else in. And they basically try telling him, you know what, because he's having issues with the fact that he's just a clone of the original Roy Harper. But, they make a good point. The original Speedy was taken away for still unknown reasons before anybody besides Green Arrow met him. So with that said, technically the only Speedy / Roy Harper / Red Arrow the team has ever, or not the team, but his so-called friends have ever known was him. And that kind of works a little bit. And it's revealed that the reason why he's doing what he's doing, even taking a few money or a few things of cash when he saves somebody, is because of the fact that he's trying to get a search thing together for the original Roy Harper. And everybody else thinks he's dead, and I guess you could say has given up on searching for him, but the clone, though, of him hasn't. Sorry, I have a little cough. So, I guess I'll get to the whole critiquing part of the episode. Visuals, out of 5, I'd give it a 5. The art on this show is always very fluid, nicely done. I enjoy the artwork. It's like a blend of kind of Eastern art, but then again they kind of mix it with Western art, and it really comes together nicely. So it's not too much of one thing, but it's like the perfect blends of the best parts of either one. And then after that you have audio, or at least, on my rating things I have audio, and I give this 5 out of 5. Yet again, Young Justice is, to me, one of the greatest voice acting animated shows that is around right now, or on air, because, they have great casts, and I mean a very great cast of voice actors, like D. Bradley Baker, Crispin Freeman, sorry, they have Eric Lopez, they have Jesse McCartney, and, the one and the only, pretty much you could say, Nolan North. And if you don't know who Nolan North is, he is essentially what you could say as when on a movie they have and an Oscar-winning actor is in this movie. That would be Nolan North. He is so good at his craft. And he's very famous for doing Nathan Drake on the Uncharted series, which is a great series as well. And not only voice acting him, but portraying him via mocap as well. So he gets into his work, and he does a really good job, which is obviously why they chose him to voice not only Superboy, but Superman as well. And yeah, it just all comes together very nicely. And I appreciate that, because, you could have a show with great art and good story, stuff like that, but then horrible voice acting, and it just ruins it, because you can't convey the emotion, and you don't really feel for the character. But in this show's case, the voice acting is essentially spot on, so you can really, feel for the characters at times when they're talking, even though they're not real, which is great, really. So yeah, 5 out of 5 for audio. Man. And then, next, I have plot. The plot of the story is essentially Superboy and Blue Beetle battle a group called Intergang, who activate this weird golem creature that is made up of different you could say, elements like diamonds, wood, and rock, things like that, essentially. So it's called a Apelexian, and basically with the Apelexian, they make a golem out of all of it that the Intergang tries controlling, and obviously doesn't go well. We actually learned quite a bit about the whole Blue Beetle Scarab throughout the episode, which I enjoyed. And with, I feel though with how they have Blue Beetle, I actually like it, except for I feel eventually they're probably going to go into the whole reach thing, as with the, if you didn't know, the device they used to control the golem was a apocalyptin tech. So, interestingly enough, it emitted a kind of signal, and that signal messed with Blue Beetle, or at least the Scarab. And the Scarab was actually, or not the Scarab, sorry. Sphere was able to kind of repel that signal, but I found it interesting how the signal seemingly disrupted the Scarab. So, yeah, even though they do say Ted Cord, who was killed by the light, I guess, made the Scarab, I feel that it's going to eventually be known that he didn't invent the Scarab, but the Scarab is actually alien tech that Ted Cord found and potentially maybe manipulated, or maybe he based the current Scarab off of that tech. So that's just my idea, and who knows what it'll end up being, right? So yeah, but plot-wise, they also deal with Red Arrow and his kind of issues with being a clone, I guess. And, it all seemed just too familiar with the whole Superboy issues that he had beginning of the first season with being a clone. And honestly, I just wasn't feeling it as I usually do for this episode. I give it a 4 out of 5. Still a good episode, but it felt a little bit recycled. Like, not too much, but just a little bit that, you were just like, haven't I been here before a little bit? So, yeah. Next thing I have, characters. Character-wise, I like the characters. I found it interesting how they brought back a few characters from the first season. Obviously, I enjoyed that. You see Wally and Artemis. They don't say if they're married or not. Presumably, they are married. But they are in a relationship still after 5 years. And it was nice to see those characters back. And Wally still seemingly has his attitude that he did last season. Except for obviously he's more mature. He gave up being Kid Flash. So he's just a regular person now. Still with his powers, obviously. And then you have Red Arrow, who, like I said, has issues with being a clone. He's lacking, obviously, on his training. He still is obviously very skilled, but not where he was before, as Black Canary demonstrated when she started, I guess you could say, throwing attacks at him. But Red Arrow couldn't dodge him, and, Black Canary said, I was holding back a lot. So that really just shows how the characters changed over the 5 years. And Green Arrow is seemingly the same. I'm only going to talk about, I guess, characters that were in the episode exclusively, not really just in the new series so far. So, also, you have Cheshire, sorry. Interesting, they have it in the show, similar to the comics, where her and Roy Harper have a relationship and get married and have a kid together called Liam, I believe. So, with, Leanne. And it's interesting because last time you saw Cheshire, you would never think ever she would end up settling down, especially with the superhero. But she does, and she says she left them, but they're still married legally. But I guess they're separated, you could say. So, I thought that was really cool, how they kind of kept that from the comics, I guess you could say. But then again, it's nothing really special about it. Obviously, it's going to most likely tie in later, as she says she still has connections, which makes me think by her saying that she probably quit the League of Shadows. But when she quit, she still, might do things on the side. Or maybe be like what Artemis's mom was like, where she was a villain, but she left that, and now she's just raising her kids. And, I'm cool with that. I like the characters. I'd give the characters a 4 out of 5 because, sure, they're not the greatest characters, but they're still really good. And that's really, that's still makes